Being struck with a bout of wanderlust recently, I felt the need to visit a new country, but getting on a plane just to get my insides tickled with the dull end of a machete while enjoying some jellied eels got me thinking. What if I could simulate London in a London simulator? Hi everyone, I'm Justin, and in this series I will be playing Fallout London the way Kier Starmer intended. No guns, no throwables, survival mode, melee only. In this mode, enemies do roughly 400% more damage, making every encounter way more dangerous. What the... Hello love? Especially since we only do 75% of our usual damage. Due to the new ultra low emission zone cameras on every street corner, fast travel is also banned and we can only save by sleeping. Churchill gives us the plot line for World War II.
War. Because war.
And we dive straight into the birthing process of a regular Londoner. This is actually pretty close, I think. That's perfect. Where we get to pick some stats, perks, and a name. Since we're doing melee only, it would only be fitting to go fully into strength, endurance, agility, and luck for critical hits. We chose heavy-handed to do 20% more melee damage and numbskull, granting 1 perk point to strength, endurance, luck, but our intelligence is capped at a maximum of 3. It would only be fitting to give our character the most Londoner name possible. After achieving self-awareness, we get to meet our dads for the first time, before we break our way out of the birthing tube and begin our quest to steal our first Rolex. We collect our inheritance after paying the 40% tax and start making our way towards the surface. Grab his meat. Not his teeth, his meat. Where are you going? Looting the surrounding areas, we find our first weapon, which we need to obtain a license for. But there is nobody around, so we just keep going. Since we were born yesterday, we make the mistake of drinking from the local water fountain, which comes with a free dose of polio. We grab some of London's finest cuisine along the way and come across our first gang.
Name's Gaunt, Sebastian Gaunt. And these dredges are Chill Winston and Johnny Shrapnel.
We're presented with choosing the National Health Service or a guy named Chill Winston, which is a pretty simple decision really. We're rewarded with our first meaningful weapon for siding with Gaunt and his posse. We follow Chilly Willy and his mates to their compound, where a local man is in dire straits, and we're asked to find him some aids from Greenwich Station. Before going there, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, we loot nearby areas to find items we can sell, and then we go to the station. We meet the old hag in charge of the place, and this is where I realized we truly are in London. What? Oh. Quick bro, stop doing knife tricks. It's not fucking Counter-Strike. What? After dying 4 times to one of the weakest enemies in the game, we resort to subversive tactics to get the med kit. Wait, the med kit, and take it back to our new friend, Tricky Ricky. Open door! The second-hand embarrassment of getting tricked by another gang while being called Tricky Ricky is too much for him, so he just decides to trick himself out of life through sheer willpower. While taking in the scenery, I get approached by the local police asking me if I have a license for that, which I don't. So he sucks out my soul as an offering to Meghan Markle. We set out to avenge our friend Treacherous Richard and fight off the local riffraff on the way. Some of which resembling exotic uncircumcised penises or blood pudding. I can never really tell the difference. At this point, I do my best to avoid any combat unless I have no other choice. Making our way through the local park, we encounter the guy from River Monsters causing a mass extinction event for the local wildlife.
Oh, hello there. Sorry. Oh, hello there.
We reach the pub where it's your typical Tuesday morning.
Oh, fuck.
And we let the vagabonds finish the job while we provide emotional encouragement from the sidelines. Let's go! Once inside, we have a quick chat with Yvette, where we receive our first real gig. We head out to find the scout before she alerts the rival gang of our Rolex operation. She smacks my tits off on the first attempt, which is supposed to be emasculating, but this is the most physical attention we might ever get from a woman. So we go back for round 2. This time, we set the pleasantries aside and finish her off with back shots before she even knows what's happening. We loot every chance we get since this is survival mode, and for every minute we don't ingest beans is a minute that brings us closer to death. After completing Yvette's mission, we meet the legendary Keith Richards, who needs our help with his guitar amp. A slew of side quests sends us on a package retrieval mission where I get stuck on a dumpster while the gentlemen fondle my insides with the sharp ends of their tire irons. On the second attempt, we got some help from whatever this is.
Right, I'll tell you what, you fat little cunt.
We finish off the rest of the errands and return to Mr. Richards. After he has multiple strokes,
Hello? Are you still there?
he comes to his senses and gives us another quest. This time the package is a person. The main reason for siding with the vagabonds this early is mostly because I went into this challenge without playing the mod even once nor conducting any research whatsoever and dove in head first. Nonetheless, helping the vagabonds does bring us closer to 2 pieces of equipment that will be of great help in this run. See, much like real life, the problem is not how the people around us act, but how we react to the people around us. We respond by entering a vegetative state. With enemy attacks being 400% more powerful, we needed something to protect our supple bean-filled bodies while we inflicted the most amount of pain possible. So we head to the Hound Pub to retrieve the longsword. Since the government has been monitoring our Twitter posts, they make our journey slightly more inconvenient by pissing turbo cancer on us. Lovely weather in it. We enter the pub and fight a few roaches. One of the rooms has a coaster which boosts melee and bashing damage by 5%, which isn't much, but I would really take anything at this point. We grab the longsword in the last room on the 2nd level. This helps us deal an additional 32 plus damage, pretty useful in turning insides to outsides. We head to the nearby police station south of here to retrieve the riot gear, but the joke's on me. I've had the riot gear this whole time and I'm just really bad at the game. It becomes almost immediately apparent how much more damage we do, judging by the amount of heads rolling. Me and my dog double team some street bitches. This bond solidifies our brotherhood and we get our first companion. Me and my brachycephalic bro head down to Thames Haven. Randeep, who is actually standing shallow, gives us the thumbs up. The path to the actual town isn't too bad, aside from the Geiger counter sound becoming my new sleep paralysis demon.
What the fuck?
We picked 2 new perks. I went with Big Leagues granting 20% more melee damage and Idiot Savant granting us a chance to get 3 times more XP. With more chance of this happening, the lower intelligence we have, and since we have a combined IQ of 1 between me and Churchill, it seems like an easy choice. Once we're underground, we meet with the emphysema-riddled Squidwardess and her Discord kitten. What the f*** are you? Who asks us to save their friend.
Find him and help. If he's still alive.
After saving him, the furry basically tells us we need to find a kid he used to talk to. The kid was apparently birthed by the same 2 dads as us. We escape the underground shit pissery and make our way to Rotherhithe to find the kid. The trip there isn't too eventful. We find Asmongold and trade a few items with him that he found under his bed after cleaning his room for the first time. Churchill comes in clutch with a combat knife he ripped from someone's corpse, and we arrive in one piece. We knock on the plane door and then talk to Bulkhead, who informs us the whole village has crabs and we need to exterminate them before he opens up the plane. The Squidwardians are apparently big proponents of slavery and aren't paying Morgan even minimum wage to sit on this lawn chair nonchalantly every day. After 2 tries, we take out the first mitten lurk by taking aggro, getting a few shots in and hiding behind a tree every time he gets close. The second nest is pretty easy, even though I pissed my pants because of a baby crab. I hear one.
Right, I'll tell you what, you fat little cunt. You're boring. You don't sound Nigerian.
We break a few eggs.
6 bomber ass clot, pussy bomber blood clot egg.
But you know what they say, you can't make an omelette without committing mass genocide. After that, we level up and pick the blacksmith perk, allowing us to craft level 1 melee weapon mods. The third nest required some finesse. Churchill carried his weight in this fight, but as always I get 1 shot. So the second try I realized the full-size mitten lurk is not part of the nest, so we attack from the other side, which doesn't make the crabs spawn. The rest of them didn't spawn any mitten lurks, so it's no big deal. Bulkhead lets us inside where we talk to Archie, the kid. As it turns out, the ferry from earlier didn't just abandon this kid in a crashed plane in the middle of a Chernobylian lake, he also gifted him his boofed pistol. I'm doing my best to defend the guy, but the allegations are stacking up, man. The team of highly skilled writers I paid in non-refundable Google Play gift cards to write the script clearly don't know the difference between a revolver and a pistol. So please let them know how dissatisfied you are by subscribing and leaving a firm but not too heated review in the comments.
Fucking mother bloody fuck bitch!
We return to the ferryman with a prized pistol, but our TikTok brains kick in on the way and we decide to loot a shopping mall. Churchill snipes a blowfly mid-air, and I thought this whole thing was going great until we meet Debbie from HR hiding in the freezer. I redid this fight 3 or 4 times. She was one shot away from being sent to the Great Work Retreat in the sky, but one stroke of her pen would send us straight to unpaid sexual harassment counseling every single time we try to fight her. On the last attempt I was really feeling it, but Churchill decided to hump my leg mid-fight so I couldn't fall back. And she killed me. What's he doing? What's he doing? Move, Winston! No, Churchill! I decided to leave this for another time as we still had probably 90% of the game left to play. We reach the ferryman who denies us passage unless we donate one laughing disco ball. He tells us that we need to provide cover fire while he takes us to the other side of the lake, but we need to open the gate first. It took me a good minute or two to figure out how to get to the other side of this river. And if we ever thought the Geiger counter noise was bad, we were very innocent and naive back then. And can only be described as having a high-speed blender inserted directly into your ear holes while your brain is being whipped into stiff peaks. After some walking, parkour and a few roach fights, we lower the bridge that leads to the button that opens the gate. Which is kinda like leaving your house through your kitchen window just then to enter through the front door again. We set sail with the wind in our hair and the bullets in our eye sockets. I thought it would be possible to brute force this and not fight anyone because we cannot reach them with the sword, but it only took 3 to 4 shots to kill us. And we get locked out of all movement except for being able to look around, which opens up a hole in my serpentine all over the boat and hope for the best strategy. Wow. The best part, a glitch would spawn us under the boat inside the water after every death, and land would be just too far out of reach. I managed to swim to shore once where a perfectly placed mine was salivating to expand the circumference of my ass as soon as I thought I was safe.
Dude, how'd you get there? Should've told me there was an easier way.
The issue was not getting to the other side of the lake. We could easily do that by just jumping from building to building and tanking the radiation of short swims. I even found a bed on the other side of the lake which would help us save here. This would place us very close to the hooligan spawn too. The problem was that the quest wouldn't progress without the ferryman taking us to the other side himself, and us surviving the barrage of bullets along the way. I spent an hour and a half trying to find a way to get around using a gun here. I thought we could kill the hooligans first before we get to the boat, but they wouldn't spawn unless we were on the boat with the ferryman. I didn't want to end the challenge here, but I also didn't want to break the rules. So I was left with a bit of a situation. But the pen is indeed mightier than the rectum revolver, my friends, so we defeat this enemy through the power of words. Since you're locked out of movement here, this part technically counts as a scripted segment that functions as a cutscene because the player movement is restricted to only camera control. Meaning it is a cutscene in a sense, and we can complete the segment with a gun without breaking the rules. So, we take the ferryman's friend, and if he hides his friends in his ass, I'm glad we're not enemies. Using the pistol or shitstole, if you will, we mow down the hooligans on our 3rd try. I decided to not waste any time and meet the ferryman and Archie at the other side of the river. We take out a few road shrews along the way and loot the nearby area. I found a prime piece of London real estate close to the bridge for the small price of hourly police sirens and multi-generational debt. This makes the run to the objective way less painful and gives us access to a bed, cooking station and a weapons workbench. There are a few ways to get to the boat with Archie and John Fetterman. Our new condo is located here, close to the optional quest marker on this bridge, which is the one we plan on crossing. Loaded with enough chems to fentanyl for the next 180 business days, we set out to cross the bridge. Oh shit, they all have guns. You piece of shit.